Johnny and I say it all the time. Luck is where hard work meets opportunity, and unfortunately, that's one of the things that annoys me when we get a request for sponsorship, whether it's
Hey,
for
that's the
our
hoodie you're wearing.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
very very cool. And did you lay that out and design it yourself?
I kind of so there's a guy. His name is his business is Desk Ridge Tattoos. He's based out of Kentucky. He's a like a very successful like tattoo artist. And yeah, I kind of just give him some ideas, and he throws some cool stuff together for me. And then I have a guy up in Michigan. He prints some stuff for me and ships it to me.
Well, like Isaac said here in the chat room, you're a hustler. You're somebody that goes and makes stuff happen, and I just think everybody in the sport can benefit from it. And if you guys haven't listened to Jeff Stanton on David Pingree show, talk about the idea that Logan, you're epitomizing what Jeff's talking about. Is it just takes work. You've got to lean into the work, not shy away from it. Whether it's like you said, I, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it wasn't like you grew up getting a computer science degree, but here you are doing artwork and merchandise. It's cool.
Yeah, there's so many people that I feel like in the sport, so many privateers are just like all poor me. All I make is the night show money. Like, yeah, it's because you're fucking lazy. Like, you're not on the trying to find sponsors. Like, if you want to build a very good program, which I feel like I have, I mean, you got to call 7 gear companies, see what sponsor will give you the most gear plus bonuses plus salary, whatever. So there's 7 people you got to call right there just for gear, and then exhausts, and then even down to like little brake pads and handlebars, and like it's a lot of work. Like, people don't realize, like, they just see me sitting in the pits with my bike, and I mean, dude, it's months of work just to build my little program, let alone the big teams. I can't even imagine that. But yeah, I literally do everything myself. I have an agent who does help me with like some connections and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm pretty much a one-man show. My mechanic helps me like drive to the races and stuff. With a little bit of extra money that I've been making, I've been able to fly to the races for the first time in my entire life last year. So that was pretty nice. But no, it's cool, man. I do feel like I work hard, and I appreciate you guys noticing that.
Well, hey, let me ask you this. Hold on, Johnny. I'm sorry. Just out of curiosity, did you contact the agent, or did the agent contact you?
So he is a good friend of mine from here. He's
Okay.
he used to work for KTM. He's just one of the best people that I know, and he's got all the connections, and he's helped me out tremendously.
That's got to make you appreciate it more when you come from driving to all the races and you're eating shitty food and you're sleeping in a van, and then finally once things start kind of rolling for you, you tend to appreciate it more, rather than not putting words into other people's mouth. But I've heard interviews from guys that are getting burnt out of the sport when they're at the highest level. Well, yeah, they've got struggles because with money brings more problems. However, it also takes care of a lot of things, to where you're flying to the races, you've got somebody packing all your gear and everything is there when you need it. You come back, you got people, your program is just fine tuned, and you just have to kind of just show up and be disciplined to show up. You're not like, hey, I wish I could spend more time training, but instead I'm looking for sponsors, and I'm trying to pay these bills, and I got to look for my flights and whatnot.
Yeah, 100%. Makes you appreciate it more. I feel like when you do a lot of this stuff yourself, when you're a factory guy, I'm sure you get obviously you're a little bit more spoiled, but those guys, I feel like some of those guys got to appreciate what they got a little bit more. Like, you'll never have to stress money a day in your life, and even if you go out there and get a third that night, you're still going to be okay. There's more to life than just winning a race,
Well, I think the cool part about it is, like you just mentioned, you being able to fly to the race felt like you were on a red carpet ride. You remember those 11, 12-hour drives. Now it's a 2-hour flight. You're like, heck yeah, man, this is awesome. And I think when you look back to somebody like an Alex Martin, living out of a box van, I think it was him and Filthy Phil,
yeah.
Not knowing if they're going to have enough gas to get to the next race. And like Johnny said, eating ramen noodles because that's all you can afford. And then to get to that factory level, and you talk to some of these managers and you talk to some of these mechanics, and you can see the difference in what they go through when the rider shows up and appreciates the fact that the bike is there, the bike is clean, the truck is there, because they remember, like you're talking about, Logan, you're doing the driving, you're doing the mechanicking, you're trying to figure out where's the next dollar going to come from. And when you are working for somebody who appreciates it, and I know talking with quite a few people in the industry, it's very frustrating when a lot of these kids come in through a pay to play program where everything has always been paid for. It's almost like the kids are difficult to work with because they're like, well, I'm paying for this program that I'm on. Now I'm marketing it as if I'm sponsored, which is kind of funny in our sport, right? How many kids do we know at the amateur level in the first year at the pro level? Grandma and grandpa are still paying for them to be on that program. The point is the athlete becomes cocky and almost like, I'm paying to be on this team, so you're working for me.
Yeah,
Not real. That's so distorted. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Logan.
that he starts to believe it.
Yes.
Paying for it.
Yeah. Well, and so many people like to go out there on social media and say, I'm sponsored. And then you get to the root of it and you realize that there's a lot of pay to play programs out there. I don't have a problem with the pay to play program because we talked about this on the show. That's what's going on. The Formula One model has permeated into the MXGP arena, and we're seeing it come over here. I don't have a problem with it, but just state what it is. Don't go out there and make it sound like, oh, I'm such a great rider, I got to ride over Logan because I'm better than him. When the truth of the matter is, I just have a wealthy family member that's paying for me to be on this team. So now I'm going to talk down to Logan in the pits because I'm out of a factory rig. Come on, man. You're paying your way to get there. Somebody's paying for mine.
Yeah, it's
No
like
transparency.
cool factor. I feel like when you're under the semis and stuff, obviously it looks cooler, but
Yep.
paying fucking $40,000 to be on that team.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And people don't realize that. That's where I get a little bit fed up with the little cocky shits that walk around like they're somebody. And I'm like, dude, you're just a spoiled kid that your grandparents are paying for it. And what's astounding to me is when you really get into the deep weeds, you realize that grandma and grandpa have been paying for this since they were on super minis, right? They're saying that they're a certain colored rider sponsor when really grandma and grandpa's paying for them to be on that program and did it their entire amateur career.
Yeah.
So I want some of the parents to realize when you're racing against somebody and they say they're sponsored, do a little bit of due diligence. And there's very few, especially nowadays. It's not like when we had the Suzuki program when Cole Gress had, a half dozen Eli Tomac's, Ian Treadles, those guys. Jason Anderson was on that program as well.
Yeah.
Well, comparison is the theft of joy. I think that's the problem with the pits between the haves and have-nots. Is the have-nots are always thinking that the grass is greener on the other side, but they don't realize that the grass is greener on the other side. That's fertilized with bullshit. That's why you need to go do your own due diligence to find out what programs are actually worth a damn. And Logan, just totally uncandid, unfiltered. You don't have to answer. As far as everything that you're making, are you able to make a living paying your bills with a little bit of excess? And is most of that money coming from the purse money, or is it coming from your merch? Where is it coming from? You don't have to give real numbers. You could be as vague as you want.
Yeah. It's pretty life changing. Like OnlyFans is unbelievable. Like it's legitimately like life changing what they're doing for me. And then obviously you got the purse every weekend. My merch does pretty well, and yeah, dude, like I don't want to come across sounding cocky or anything, but I know 100% I'm making more money than a lot of Factory 250 guys right now. Like,
love it.
It's literally unbelievable. Like I was that guy, 2 or 3 years ago that simply relied on the purse money, and because I was kind of lazy. Like I rode for some teams, like they were great, but I just didn't make money. And then with this whole thing that happened to me when I was riding for that dude and he completely fucked me over, like it was literally the best thing that ever happened to me. It was like a complete blessing in disguise. And I fell into this OnlyFans gig, and I actually saw that guy at a local track who fucked me over, and we got into like a little screaming match back and forth.